Our next honoree has played a critical role in the development and growth of the Osborne Association. This amazing organization, which focuses its efforts at the intersections of poverty and criminal justice, has made an enormous impact on the lives of thousands of people in our country. She serves as the Chief Financial Officer and is a shining example of those who work tirelessly behind the scenes to ensure that an organization is strong, healthy, and capable of achieving its mission.
It's our great pleasure to present this award to Carolina Cordero Dyer, the Associate Executive Director and Chief Financial Officer for the Osborne Association.
Wow. Thank you so much, Professor Smallins, Stevens, Dr. McKay, Dr. Videka, Gary Parker, wherever you are, and everybody involved in putting together this year's symposium and the awards dinner. So 20 years ago, I could never have imagined being acknowledged for my paid work. So at that time, I'd had 3 jobs in multinational business. In my very first job out of college, I learned that the company I was working for was paying millions of dollars into a Grand Cayman bank account in order to prop up the Marcos regime in the Philippines and to provide a few more shoes to Imelda. That was my first job. My second job, the president asked me a very serious question: Carolina, how much money do you think that we would recover if the warehouse burned down to the ground? My third job, my boss asked me into which bank account, offshore bank account, I would like my untaxed Mexican earnings to be deposited into. I did decline the very tempting offer. So 20 years ago, after too many nights of tossing and turning and wondering what I was accomplishing in the world, I really got that what I was doing didn't work. It didn't work for me, and it didn't work for the world. So a friend of mine at that time, Nancy Mann, said, Carolina, what do you think about working with prisoners? And I said, gee, I've never thought about that, but it sounds fine. So the president, Liz Gaines, took a chance on me, and she hired someone as her CFO who had not a lick of experience in the not-for-profit sector. So since joining Osborne 20 years ago, I have steadied the course. Our revenues have quadrupled. I've managed our finances, I've managed our real estate. I started our business enterprises, creating hundreds of new jobs. I've initiated our workforce development programs. So you can imagine, 20 years ago when I started at Osborne, George Pataki was governor, Rudy Giuliani was mayor, and New York was tough on crime and steeped in its war on drugs. We were building jails and prisons and locking up more than 100,000 people a year, ripping apart countless families, leaving huge swaths of neighborhoods fatherless and jobless, with children being raised by distant relatives and in the foster care system. So in the meantime, in those 20 years at Osborne, we've got more than 3,000 people off of drugs. We have created career opportunities and jobs for thousands of people. We have reconnected thousands of people with their families. We have helped save New York City and New York State more than $1 billion. This is not a typo. More than $1 billion through alternatives to incarceration programs. It's great. I know, it's great. It's great. That focus on creating possibilities in people's lives rather than perpetuating a cycle of endless and unproductive punishment. As you know, the tide is turning in our nation, in our nation's failed crime policies. When you see people from both sides of the aisle realize that lock 'em up policies have failed us miserably. So today, 20 years later, Osborne is trauma-informed. It's a strengths-based powerhouse operating at full throttle to transform the criminal justice system as we know it. We're running the nation's first social impact bond that provides cognitive behavioral therapy to every single adolescent on Rikers Island. We lead the state's initiative on behalf of children of incarcerated parents, helping young people whose parents are locked up far from home, advocate on behalf of more humane and effective criminal justice policies. In fact, the initiative now advises no less than the International Association of Chiefs of Police on policies to ensure that children's needs are considered during arrest, detainment, and prosecution and incarceration. And the state is now shuttering prisons. We're closing them down instead of building them. In fact, in January, Governor Cuomo and the legislature transferred to the Osborne Association Fulton Correctional Facility so that we can open up a community reentry facility. And we can support reentry, repurposing a building that for 40 years was used to lock people up. And it's great, it's great. So I'm not here to tell you how amazing Osborne's work is. And I'm not here to ask for your support, although I will happily talk to you afterwards. I will. But I'm here to thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. People like me are mostly behind the scenes. And it means a great deal to me for you to recognize my work. It's work that goes unrecognized. And without work from people like me, the great work of organizations like Osborne's never gets done. And that Gary called me up a short time ago and said, "We want to acknowledge you," really means a great deal to me. Today, I can lay my head on my pillow knowing that I do make a difference. And I really, really appreciate this honor. Thank you.